Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Nur Hashiki Binti Hashim, metric number D202010938323. I will present another video about demand in microeconomics. Here we see about demand. What is demand? Economists use the term demand to refer to the amount of some good or service consumers are willing and able to purchase at each price. Demand is based on needs, and one of a consumer may be able to differentiate between a need and a want. But from an economist's perspective, they are the same thing. Demand is also based on ability to pay. If you can't pay for it, you have no effective demand. What a buyer pays for a unit of the specific good or service is called the price. The total number of units purchased at that price is called the quantity demand. A rise in the price of a good or service almost always decreases the quantity of that good or service demand. Conversely, a fall in price will increase the quantity demand. When the price of a gallon of gasoline goes up, for example, people look for ways to reduce their consumption by combining several errands, commuting by carpool or mass transit, or taking weekend or vacation trips closer to home. Economists call this inverse relationship between price and quantity demand the law of demand. The law of demand assumes that all other variables that affect demand are held constant. An example from the market for gasoline can be shown in the form of a table of a graph. A table that shows the quantity demand at each price, such as table 1, is called a demand schedule. Price in this case is measured in dollars per gallon of gasoline. The quantity demand is measured in millions of gallons over some time period. Here we can see the table 1, price and quantity demand of gasoline. Here we can see from the $1 until $2.20 per gallon when the price was increased, so the quantity demand will decrease from 800 to 420 millions of gallons. A demand curve shows the relationship between price and quantity demanded on a graph like figure 2 below, with price per gallon on the vertical axis and quantity on the horizontal axis. So the figure shows the curve of the price and the quantity demand of gasoline, which when the price is increased, so the quantity demand of gasoline will decrease. Overall, the demand schedule that table 1 shows that as price rise, quantity demanded decreases, and vice versa. These points can then be grouped, and the line connecting them is the demand curve. The downward slope of the demand curve again illustrates the law of demand, that the inverse relationship between prices and quantity demand. The demand schedule shown by table 1 and the demand curve shown by the graph in figure 2 are two ways of describing the same relationship between price and quantity demanded. Next, what factors affect demand? Demand defined as the amount of some product that a consumer is willing and able to purchase at each price. This suggests at least two factors in addition to price that affect demand. Willingness to purchase suggests a desire to buy, and it depends on what economists call taste and preference. If you neither need nor want something, you will be willing to buy it. Ability to purchase suggests that income is important. Professors are usually able to afford better housing and transportation than students because they have more income. The price of related goods can also affect demand. If you need a new car, for example, the price of a Honda may affect your demand for a Ford. Finally, the size or composition of the population can affect demand. The more children a family has, the greater the demand for clothing. The more driving age children a family has, the greater the demand for car insurance, and the less for diapers and baby formula. Then, lastly is ceteris paribus assumption. When does ceteris paribus apply? Ceteris paribus is applied when we look at how changes in price affect demand or supply, but ceteris paribus can also be applied more generally. In the real world, demand and supply depend on more factors than just price. For example, a consumer's demand depends on income, and a producer's supply depends on the cost of producing the product. How can we analyze the effect on demand or supply if multiple factors are changing at the same time, say price rises and income falls? The answer is that we examine the change one at a time and assume that the other factors are held constant. For example, we can say that an increase in the price reduces the amount consumer will buy, assuming income and anything else that affects demand is unchanged. Additionally, a decrease in income reduces the amount consumer can afford to buy, assuming price and anything else that affects demand is unchanged. This is what the ceteris paribus assumption really means. In this particular case, after we analyze each factor separately, we can combine the result. The amount consumer buy falls for two reasons. First, because of the higher price, and second, because of the lower income. In conclusion, demand has a fixed definition and law because it involves two things, namely price and quantity, and the movement of the curve is also based on the inverse law of demand. That is, when heavy increase in price level, the quantity of demand will be decreased. And that subtopic explanation from me. Thank you.